Hi and welcome to Warts and All Wellbeing. Today I thought we'd have a look at a couple of definitions of wellbeing that I particularly like and that I find really useful. The first one is by Felicia Huppert, and she defines wellbeing as feeling good and functioning well. And I really like that as a definition because I think you've got the feeling good bit, which is that hedonic pleasure part, that kind of, I don't know, it just feels really nice. And that's important. When we think about well-being, it is often how we feel, and that's an important part of it. However, it's not the whole story. And so Felicia Huppert also talks about this functioning well, or the eudaimonic part, or if you want, the good life. So in order for us to have well-being, we also need to be contributing to the world around us, maybe to our families or our friends, or the wider community. So it's about being able to feel good and also being able to function well. And when you put those two elements together, that's what's going to give us a sense of well-being. So that's the first one that I really like. The second definition that I find really useful is by Rachel Dodge, and she and her colleagues over in the UK wrote a paper in 2012 in which they defined well-being as the dynamic balance between challenges and resources. And I really like that as a definition. I've got a picture here that I drew to show you what I'm talking about here. So we all have challenges and we all have resources, and it's our ability to access those resources to hit that challenge that actually tells us how well we're doing and whether or not our well-being is good. And sometimes we have big tsunamis that hit us. They're kind of coming out of the blue and they're huge and they knock us over and we go flying, and that's one heck of a challenge. And right now, Andrew and I, my husband and I, we are facing one of those huge challenges. It came out of the blue. One day we turn up at work. By the end of the week, it's like, oh, I think I'm making you redundant. And then by the end of the next week, it's like, yep, you're out. So that was a huge challenge that we faced. And it knocked us sideways, and we're still recovering from that. We're digging deep into our resource box, and we're doing all the things that we know to do to help us deal with that challenge. But we're definitely kind of feeling this wobble, and the challenge went really big, and it's like, whoa, we've now got to try and right ourselves. But even if you're not facing those huge challenges, and let's face it, we all are really in some shape or another with COVID at the moment, but it can also be those everyday challenges. And again, just back to the water, the tsunami is the big wave that comes. But when there's no tsunami, there's still little waves. And they keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming. It might be that, I don't know, the dog's sick, or the car's broken down, or you got into a traffic accident on the way to work, or, just those things you get there and you haven't got the report, or you left your keys, or, those kind of little things that just keep happening. And so what we need to be able to do in order to maintain our well-being is be able to dynamically balance those challenges and those resources. So you might be sitting there thinking, well, in an ideal world, I wouldn't really have any challenges. But you know what, that's not true either, because if we don't have challenges, then we end up stagnating and maybe even disengaging, and that's not good for our well-being either. So if you think about it, how many times you've set yourself a goal which basically ups your challenge. So life's going really well, I don't know, maybe you're out and you're walking for 4Ks each day, and then you kind of go, you know what, I think I'm going to walk a bit further today. Well, you've just upped the challenge, and you're going to need to stretch and to balance your resources to meet that challenge. And so we're always setting ourselves new goals, and every time we set ourselves a new goal, that's an increase in the challenge. So we want to be able to balance the resources with the challenge. And if we're getting too many resources, we need to up the challenge. If the challenge is too big, we either need to reduce the challenge if possible, or we need to increase our resources so that we can balance really well. Let me just show you that one more time. So being able to balance the challenges and the resources. And in Warts and All Wellbeing, we're going to spend quite a bit of time looking at the sorts of things that we've got in this R box, in our resources. Some of them are going to be external, some of them are going to be internal, some of them are going to be about feeling good, and some of them are going to be about functioning well. But whenever we're talking about well-being, it is always going to be dynamic. It's not that we're always feeling fantastic and on top of the world and life's sweet and swimming. Sometimes, the bad stuff happens too. And it's about how we challenge, how we navigate through, and that's where we're talking about well-being. All right, guys, that's it for now. Have a good day, and we'll speak again soon a little bit more. Bye.